In today's lesson, we're going to continue looking at data structures. Remember, you should already know what arrays, records and tuples are. Now we're going to be looking at what's called a dictionary. Now a dictionary is another data structure. Although not actually needed by this course, you do have to have an understanding of them. Here is our starter exercise. Try and answer the questions you can see linked to the keywords. Pause the video and do that now. Which is the missing data structure? So hopefully you've noticed it's a tuple. Question 2. Which data structure is not mutable? Now that is also a tuple. A tuple, you can't change the values in a data structure. Question 3. What's the difference between an array and a list? Well, an array can only have one data type and is a fixed size, so it's static, whereas a list is dynamic and can change. And what do the keywords static and dynamic mean? Well, static means it can't change and dynamic means it can. Let's now think about dictionaries. List, tuples and records are actually known as container data types. That means they can contain several items of data. So think about our records that we were making last week. We did an example with a gym. A member had an age, a weight, height, etc. And that's more than one type of data. A dictionary doesn't have more than one type of data. A dictionary can only store pairs of data, with each one of those being a key. Remember, each of those keys should be unique. Here's an example. You've got 342 saved as Harry. That is a pair. And 3643 is Dylan. That is a pair as well. Think of it like a dictionary. When you look up a word in the dictionary, you have the definition with it. We're assuming that all words have one definition here though. We've talked about this word mutable already, and this means that the values can change. So they're mutable, they can change. So if you think of a list, those values can actually change as well. Let's have a look at our data structure. So our dictionary has curly brackets. So looking at the code on your screen, you see they have curly brackets. Each one has its key and value. You can decide what the key is going to be. That might be a number, or it might even be some text, and its value that goes with it. I want you to go on to Trinket now. We're going to investigate how to use a dictionary. You need to look for dictionary investigation. You've got 4 different methods here. What I want you to do is first of all make a dictionary, and secondly try these 4 methods. What do they do and how they work? Please write your answers in the table. Here are some of the answers. Our first method is get, and this returns the value associated to our key. So if you remember in our last example, our key was Abdullah and the value was 5. However, if the key is not in the dictionary, then an optional default is returned. That default can be specified, and if it's not been specified, then none is returned. Keys returns a view of all the keys in the dictionary. Values returns all the values, and items returns all of the items. So each item in the dictionary is a 2D element of a tuple. Let's now think about adding an item to our dictionary. Now you can see at the top we've got a dictionary called Student Marks, and it has 3 items in it: Abdullah, Joe and Sarah. But we want to add Adam. So we need to say Student Marks, we use square brackets and put our data or our key into the square brackets. You then put equals and give it its value. Try this out, see what happens. I now want you to have an experiment with the code shown on the screen. There's a print line after you've inputted a name, and then it's going to try and search through our dictionary. There are 2 different ways to do this, using an if and an else. I want you to try them both, see if they work. And for an extension, can you get it to print out all the values in our dictionary. We're now going to have a look at example 4. Let's have a look at how they added new values and edited them. Here's your first big task. Create a dictionary of school subjects that you study. You need to demonstrate how to show the values, show the keys, and check if you study a subject. So there needs to be something to do each of those. Try to do this without looking at your previous code. You've now got an extended task. Create a dictionary for form tutors in sixth form. You need to decide a unique ID and store the teacher associated with that form. You should have a teacher checker for new students. So when a new student arrives in a form, they can enter the code of that teacher and it will tell us who the tutor is. I want to make sure you have a menu system where you can either enter staff or students. So if you're a student, it does as what we've just explained above. If you're a teacher, you can add new form codes and staff, or you can see a list of all our form codes and staff, like a bit of a submenu. Let's have a look at my solution. There are problems in it. Can you spot them, and how could they be improved?